to the Trinity Force Podcast. Yo, it's that Triforce cast beaming straight to your home. Grab a beer so we know Pone ain't drinking alone. Send an email, a quick tweet, just pick up the phone. Leave a message at the beep if you're a creep, watch your tone. Discuss the meta game, patch notes, whatever helps your stats most. Obi-Pone Kenobi is your last hope to snatch gold. So grab your headphones and join in the fun. We'll try and force in some jokes and some cringeworthy puns. Yo, we can make it together, people. Trinity Force Podcast. These boys are second to none. Now that's the end of the intro. It's time we begun.
Hey guys, welcome to Trinity Force Podcast. My name is Adam Ponophobia Cogswell, and I am your host. As always, it is episode number 319, joined by, again, a great group of guys as cereal boxes with us.
Not every time. We have to fill in for you sometimes when you go off to fun gender reveal parties and things.
Yeah, that was fun. Shira Jaden's here.
Hey, what's up?
And for this week, we have a special guest. BlackAndola is on with us.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
I really like the t-shirt, man.
I got this $10 at a Boscov's. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that store. It's a store usually targeted towards everyone 16 older, but they do have a younger people section, and all their graphic tees are $10. So I was like, I have to pick this up, and here we are.
For those listening to the podcast, it's a Street Fighter 2 t-shirt. Is there like a fight scene below, or does it just have the logo?
I think it's just not just like a regular.
Oh, that's
they're all hanging out there. Yeah.
Yeah, if we had Oscillator on here, he would bring up something about kicking my ass and hyper fighting and whatnot. Like, I'm a Street Fighter baby when it came to, like, I started in 4, and then all the people I played with all had played in 2 and whatnot. So I respect anybody who has any kind of old school gamer gear on. So today's podcast, again, BlackAndola's on with us, joining us. We're going to talk about TLDR patch notes, talk about his new series that's out there, his Silver Climb, because he is playing ranked again this season, as we saw in his first episode of that. We're going to talk about his voice acting, his role in the league community, all that. So, Black, I'm going to let you have the floor here. Why don't you go ahead and tell us who you are, what you do, what your channel is. I mean, the floor is yours.
Hey guys, all right. So I'm BlackAndola. Real name's Blakinola Verissimo. From Philly, and I make League of Legends videos. I'm most known for TLDR patch notes and a whole bunch of other video series, including my voice. There's an announcer pack out there, and I guess when I go to events or when I'm known in the community, it's because of my voice and tall stature. Fun fact: I used to be mistaken for Sky Williams, because apparently there's only allowed to be one black person in the league community. But
Wait, how?
I don't know. People just think that all black people look alike, but that doesn't really happen anymore. That was kind of a meme in the first couple years I started doing YouTube, but that's all but past now, so which is really good. But yeah, I make videos because they're fun. People seem to really like them. I've done a whole bunch of work with the community and interacted with them because of YouTube, and it's one of the best things I've ever done in my life. I don't know what I would be doing if I wasn't doing YouTube videos. I guess I'd be working. I work full-time still, and it's just nice to be able to come home from work and make content for everybody. Seeing smiles on their faces is really the only reason why I keep doing it. It's definitely not for the money, my tens of dollars from YouTube, but I don't know.
Everybody. Every time we bring up a guy in here, he's the same thing. He's like, yeah, I make like, I don't know, $10 off of YouTube. Let me count my fat stacks.
It always comes down to YouTube basically buys me a 6-pack every once in a while.
Yeah, the side money, I can buy myself some cheese or some fancy wine or something. But no, it's really all about the community, and the league community, as bad as a rep as it gets. There are a lot of great people, and when I see them at events wanting to shake my hand or have me sign stuff or have me say up in this motherfucker to whatever they want me to do, I can't get tired of that. So yeah, it's just taking it one day at a time like everybody else and seeing what comes from it. Whatever happens, and that's me.
Right. So, okay, I feel like I missed out on a really awesome opportunity here to have you actually introduce the podcast. So I might have to have you record something after the fact that we can just.
Oh, that's completely fine.
Be like, you're listening up in this, but you can see all your shit.
I could totally do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be funny, because I feel like it started. I was like, I really should have had him introduce this, because
it's going to be really ironic when that plays at the beginning of the episode. Then we talk about it in the episode.
People will get it. They'll have a lot of fun with it. Go ahead, Sean.
No, I was about to say that's what a producer's for, right?
Yeah,
You
tell
edit
them
all
what
that
to
stuff out.
No, then we lose like a good 5 minutes of podcasting time. We can't have that happen. Okay, so I want to talk about your voice because you are known for your voice. You have a very deep, bassy tone to your voice. And when did you get started and learn that you can use your voice to influence others or use it to push yourself forward in any kind of community? It doesn't just have to be League of Legends.
My mom and my other family members always told me that I had a voice for radio. All of the men in my family have deep, naturally occurring voices, and I never really, I've never done any crazy professional voice acting. I'm just starting to step into that territory. But I guess it was around 3 years ago, this December, I just decided that I'd be watching anime or watching cartoons and trying to imitate all the characters that had low vocal ranges. And when I got into League of Legends, I found out that I could, impersonate a lot of the male champions pretty decently. So I was like, maybe I'll make a video and just to see how well I could do. I have a pretty decent ear for range and if I'm hitting it or not. So I made the video and posted on Reddit. And people seemed to really, really enjoy it. And that was when I figured out, all right, this is something I might be able to do. And, hopefully one day that can turn into me actually voicing a champion for real. And so over that 3-year time span, I have looked into various ways to try to incorporate my voice in my videos because that's what people know me best for. So
Right.
champion voice impressions or, TLDR patch notes or shitty translations from Asian languages to English. People seem to really get a kick out of that. And eventually I want to make a move to, do radio, do voice acting professionally. I finally got a voice acting demo up on my website, which is something I should have done years ago, but just never got around to doing because I never really, believed in myself. It wasn't until I started seeing all this positive feedback that I realized, all right, maybe I do have a knack for this. Maybe I can do something with this. And so we'll see over the next year or two actually whether something comes out of it. But so far things are really good.
So you never actually had any like formal voice training, or have you ever thought about going into any?
So I went to some workshop in New York City. My sister told me about near NYU that would, at the end of the session, it was like a $300 session, and at the end it would say whether you're cut out for voice acting or not. And after spending 6 hours in a room full of other aspiring voice actors, they were like, yeah, you're really great. We want to record a voice demo reel for you. It's going to cost like $600. And, after spending bus fare to get up there and half the day to get up there, I was like, well, I don't have that type of money. So is my voice career over? Like just because I don't have enough money? So that kind of put a damper on things for a little while. But I realized I could get it done for a lot cheaper. So I reached out to some contacts and my sister told me about a voice acting coach to help with my breathing and improve my technique, which, if you guys heard me 2 years ago, I'd sound like complete garbage. And I didn't have braces back then either. So it's been quite a challenge for me to get to the point where I've been comfortable enough to ever consider doing voice acting. But everyone tells me, oh, why don't you voice a champion? Or why don't you do more things with your voice? So that's when I was like, all right, I'm going to make an announcer pack. And people seem to really dig that. And I don't know, I was just tired. I wanted to shake things up however I could in a free way. So this is how I've been going about it. It seems to be working out pretty good so far.
I downloaded that announcer pack as soon as you released it, mainly because any extra vulgarity I can add to my games, I'm all up in it.
Well, I'm glad you like it. I was kind of nervous making that pack only because I'm not sure how well received it would be. So I talked to Skin Spotlights, my friend Declan, and I was like, hey, can you help me unpack these files? And it was about a week where we recorded maybe like 150 to 200 lines. And I had Falcon Shield EQ them. We packed them all up together. And then I played a couple games with it. And I was like, all right, this is pretty fucking cool.
It was
I didn't
great.
think that this thing would happen.
Yeah, it was so good. Just it adds a whole different level of entertainment to the standard usual announcer pack, which was something that I was pretty sick of after playing a game and hearing the same thing every game for 3 years. So that was great.
that was exactly my motivation over it. I mean, there's nothing against the original announcer, but the fact that Riot hasn't formally put in a replacement announcer, I just felt compelled to do something. And so, yeah, I even know rioters that were like, your announcer pack is awesome. You know, we're not going to ban anybody from it. But that's kind of like a mini resume for if they ever do want to move towards a male announcer. I hope that they'll at least consider me. And that'd be awesome to have that official. I would pay all the RP for that.
To buy that, yeah, that would be pretty awesome.
I think that's awesome. You get such exposure on something like Reddit and be able to like throw that on a resume. And if they're ever like, wait, what the hell is this, an announcer pack? And you could probably just point to that post and all like the comments or just anyone saying good things about it and get just, I think that helps a ton.
Yeah,
I love that Reddit can help with that.
Yeah, there's something to be said about what you just mentioned, Serial, with getting a moderate amount of fame with anywhere through YouTube, through Twitter, or whatever it may be, because you can use a lot of that on your resume. And I'm sure the BlackAndola has added those pieces to his as well. But that's what I really like about doing this podcast and working with the community and getting so large, is you can say, I do a podcast every single week. I'm able to talk in front of people. It's people skills. It's this. You're learning more life skills than you are just learning how to speak. Now, have you felt that through those that you have grown as a person by doing these things?
Absolutely. So my traditional job is working information technology. I'm a network manager, and IT is my educational background. I love IT. I don't love it that much. I don't want to do it for 800 years. And so YouTube was like the first outlet in which I felt like I had grown as a person for the first time since I went to college. I'm doing what I want. I'm affecting people in a positive way. Sure, the money isn't that great, but the money isn't everything. I was focused on the wrong things for so long, like just making as much money as possible so I could do this next thing that I'm not sure what I want to do. And YouTube has just opened a new door up to me. I've been able to work with Riot Games. I've been able to work on with smaller indie studios for voice acting work. There's just all these opportunities that would never have occurred had I not started to do YouTube. And the horizon is just I wake up in the morning and I'm excited to get back home so I could continue to work on videos or continue to work on the next big thing. It's not like that with my normal job. Like, sure, I like coming into work and tackling new challenges and dealing with people, but it's the same thing. I'm there to put a roof over my head, but
make a
YouTube
paycheck.
is like, yeah, exactly.
Right.
I mean, YouTube, I get genuine happiness out of this. And I remember the days when I started and there was a video that I did where I made alcoholic beverages to different Pokemon, and I almost burned my house down in the process, but I woke up and it had like 1,000 views, and I felt like I'd won the lottery. And ever since then, scaling from there, it just has made me be more ambitious, more aware of my surroundings and how I can improve myself, more willing to do bold things that I never would have done before doing YouTube, because I had always doubted myself about what I could do. But now I feel that I can do a whole lot more. And so this upcoming calendar year, I'm going to pull out all the stops and just go ham. I really don't have anything to lose. And so I figure this is a good enough excuse for me to try as much as possible to just be the best in whatever I end up doing.
Now, speaking from personal experience, I have a girlfriend who pushes me to do my best. She sees that I do the podcast. I'm doing this business. I'm pushing forward. I'm trying as hard as I can to get everything going. And and she is a giant influence in my life. Do you have family members, a wife, a girlfriend, whatever it may be, that's doing the same thing and trying to help you out with all these videos? And do you feel that is something that's important to have in your life? If so,
oh, most definitely. So I have a girlfriend, and I make all the videos myself, but she has a background in music. She loves playing guitar, so. When I was starting to make musical parodies on my YouTube channel, she would help me mix and record, and she's been a super big help, supportive help. My mom is probably my biggest fan. She follows me on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and when I'm getting into it on somebody on Twitter, she's always like, who's this asshole who's coming at you? Do I have to do anything? And I'm like, Mom, calm down. It's not that serious. But it's nice to know that.
Down, that's lovely.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's I don't know. Having those people in your corner is super important. I mean, nobody gets anywhere by themselves. There's behind every successful person. I don't consider myself successful in my eyes yet, but I always have people fighting for me in this ring. You know, I've got a girlfriend in one corner, I got my mom in the other. I've got my siblings, I've got my fans. Like, it's just nice to have everybody cheering for me, because without them, you don't have any motivation. Like, who are you doing it for? I don't do this for myself. I'm getting better because of other people. I'm really doing it for everybody else. So it's nice to have those people rooting for you. I wouldn't be able to do what I do without them. So anybody who's doing something to better themselves and people are willing to support you, you know, don't push them away. Take them in, because I mean, that stuff is really hard to find nowadays. Like, you don't have to go through things alone. Sure, those people may not be able to do exactly what you need them to do, you know, to do exactly what you need them to do at a particular time, but just having that support means so much. So you should definitely take it if it's available to you.
Man, you're warming my heart to hear this type of stuff, because it's the same type of thing I've been trying to preach to people forever, is put people in your corner that are going to lift you up and help you out. I mean, do the same for them through their endeavors as well. But like, I think it's slowly going away. The stigma of a YouTube or a podcast or whatever it is not being a real job we're slowly moving away from that as the internet is becoming more and more and more prevalent. And it's nice to hear that other people out there are having the same kind of success, you know, with everybody in their life and their background. Now, speaking of podcasting, because I think this is a good segue, you had mentioned that you want to do radio. Do you feel like you would ever do any kind of podcast or jump on anyone's podcast, make your own or anything like that instead of doing radio?
I guess so. So in this industry that we have here in gaming, I guess it's not really normal for you guys still there?
Yeah, we're still here.
Yeah,
okay, cool. I think it disconnected for a bit.
You're all right.
So in this industry that we have here with esports, it's like everything is so non-conventional. I don't think we're ever going to be in a point where we'll be in a radio station like Elvis Duran or whatever popular music producer. People are going to be doing this out of the comfort of their homes or offices or whatever, just getting people impromptu in a Skype call or whatever, and just shooting the shit about whatever. I would like to do some sort of podcast, just talking about not just League, but gaming in general, like a once a week type thing. That'd be really cool. The last time I spoke about anything, I had like a radio thing, was when the whole issue with Sky and girl streamers was going on, and so I had like an impromptu stream session where we had people come on, say their piece, and I was moderator, and I was like, hey, this feels really good to have people just come on and discuss. So that's something I could see myself doing in the future, but it's not really an immediate want at the moment. Sure. I'm still working on building myself up, but it would be awesome to collaborate with people. I've been on the Just Okay Gamers podcast. I just want to be with a cool group of people talking about nerdy shit. And however that ends up being a thing, I'm okay with that.
In other words, living the dream.
Man, yeah. I think this is like the perfect segue to talk about patch notes, because I'd love to bring you on one day to talk about patch notes, because it seems, that is your thing. So it'd be great to bring you on one day to have, talk about it with us and really just, shoot the shit and how that goes.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be awesome.
So let's talk about TLDR patch notes then, because that's probably the thing that you're most famous for at this point. And then you happen to, I have to ask you first: is Riot giving you the patch notes ahead of time?
Oh yeah. I mean, so the way it started out a year ago is all right. So 4.1, before patch notes is even a thing, I had just thought to myself on the way back from work, what if I make this ridiculous video and just talk a whole bunch of nonsensical shit and just be generalized as much as I can, see what happens. And so I didn't, I took the notes. The notes had already been out for like 2 hours. And I just I worked like 6 hours straight writing and putting a video together. The video is only a couple minutes long. And it got put on Reddit, and people just went apeshit over it, and I was like, "What? I don't understand." Like, and this is like, usually when I come up with these video ideas, they're not really, it's hit or miss, and it's usually miss a lot of the time. So it was really nice to have this work out. It wasn't until patch 4.5 that I started like asking Chris Tom, who's Riot Quiff, it's like, hey, is there any chance that I could get these notes in advance?
So
it really help out the editing process.
No, go ahead.
So basically, that's what happens. Yeah, I do get the notes in advance, and it's increased my production time tremendously.
I can only imagine.
I don't. Yeah.
I know it would be great to be able to get a podcast out the day the patch notes hit. We always wait, like we get the patch notes on the Wednesday, because they always come out on Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly.
Wednesday. And then our podcast doesn't come out; it doesn't actually hit until that Friday. So there's a day lag before our stuff, before we break them down, before they come out.
We'll get off work and the patch notes just rolled out, and it's like, okay, 2 hours to prep, look over all the patch notes, and we got to talk about it for an hour.
Yeah, 2 hours is generous. It's more of we just read them as we go, and like, all right, let's try to figure this out on the fly, which is always fun.
Yeah. So a lot of people, some people have expressed distaste at that, saying that Riot is looking at me more favorably than other content creators, which just isn't true. Chris Tom has said in a Reddit thread that they are willing to work with creators if somebody can make content that is engaging, that's willing to do something with them rather than just regurgitate them straight out.
Right.
And I think I had another YouTuber friend who wanted to like bring back the patch rundown, but it was too much work, so it was only a couple of episodes. But the opportunity is there for people to do something with it. I just took an idea and I rolled with it, and I've been very lucky to be able to improve on it and try and stay relevant. So I don't know. I think it's just a good example of showing that if you're willing to put in the work, then things can work out in your favor. So yeah, sometimes I get them a little late, sometimes I get them early, but the agreement is to not share them, obviously.
Sure.
Until they're public, because stuff could change up to the last second.
Right.
But that's as much inside intel as I know, and a lot of that information you can find on PBE websites like Surrender at 20 and Wowhead and all that stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, that's coming from podcasts, we like to do is we like to go over a lot. The patch note seems to be our biggest seller, and the same thing for you. Patch note being your biggest seller, people come to your channel because they love to listen to you just yell, "Soraka is overpowered, motherfucker!" Like the stupid shit, or rip Soraka, and so
fuck Soraka. Sorry.
Yeah. No, please, fuck Soraka. Fuck that.
See, he says this, except when Soraka was OP, that's all he played. So don't.
What?
I climbed plat 1 on Soraka.
Don't tell him that. He's gonna leave. He said, "Fuck Soraka."
But I'm glad she got nerfed. I feel like with the patch notes, I'm saying what everyone wants to hear. Like, people need to be reassured that they're not going crazy, that this champion's overpowered, or this champion's underpowered, or this item is bullshit, or I think it helps out, brings the community together in maybe not the most glorious way, but we can all. We're not out to kill somebody. We're just out to hate the changes to the game, and it's a nice happy medium.
So that's the beauty of the internet. We can just pretty much say what we want to say. So if you want to say fuck Soraka and people want to get on that bandwagon, well, you know what? Open the goddamn door and let people jump in.
Exactly. That's the way it should be.
Okay, so you're getting, you'll get the notes maybe a day or whatever ahead of time. Let's talk about the actual, how long it takes to put one of those together, because part of the spotlight is to show people how much, work the community creators are putting into these shows. So you get the patch notes, say 12 hours ahead of time. How much time do you have to put into making one of those videos?
So some patches are long, some patches are short. So the videos that are the worst are preseason videos. This year's preseason wasn't as bad because you have to find the medium between including enough information for people to understand major changes, but still have it be entertaining. So obviously I'm not going to go over every single thing. Like, there was a point where I went over bug changes last year, and then after a certain point I was like, Like, who
You can't
cares?
do it.
Like,
Yeah.
it becomes
What? No, you got to do the Azir bug changes though. That's the running gag in this podcast. Is Azir continually has a bug change in every single patch.
I mean,
We
have you
really
seen
should
that
have kept the
champion?
counter.
Yeah, Azir, he's a funny champion. There are if it's an ample joke or a joke I can write because of the ridiculous bug fixes like Caitlyn or Azir, then I'll include that. But there's a lot of fluff in the notes where it's like it doesn't really add to the content to say this person got a bug fix or this person got a bug fix if they've only been complaining for it. There's much more. You have to look at the information and see. All right, this champion, this Riven got nerfed. This is more important than a bug fix because this toxic champion that is causing people to rage every time they have to lane against her will just get more of a reaction. And so that's what I focus on. A bug fix is only going to satisfy the people who main a certain champion or super hardcore. Like, I've played Caitlyn. I personally have never noticed the auto attack bug that seems to reoccur, but some people do. So if it's prudent enough, I'll add it. But otherwise, I try to stay away from bug fixes. Other than that, so preseason, those are generally the longest patches because the game is essentially being changed from season to season. And 4.20 and 4.21, the weed patch, there was a lot. There was the 4.20 was when the jungle got revamped. You have all the jungle items that we're used to now. It was so much stuff that it had Foxdrop actually come in and say, hey, like, dude, I need your help. It'd be awesome to feature you. And, you know, we've been YouTube friends for a while. So he was able to get on, offer his insight, and he's jungle main. So people are going to pay attention and listen to him. It's going to get a lot more resonance than from someone who is, you know, barely holding on the silver. And so I just look for opportunities to include people that way. So that patch, when I wrote it, it took me like a day to write. And it was like 10 pages. Now, after those 10 pages, you may not think that's like a lot. So I'm condensing down from like 30 pages of notes to 10 pages of jokes. And then after that, I record. And then I record multiple takes of each line because sometimes there's too much saliva. Sometimes I didn't, do the joke right or whatever. And so you've got 15, 20 minutes of audio that you've got to cut down. So I cut that down into like 5 or 6 minutes. And it's like, all right, hopefully there's enough content here. You always want to do more than what you need so you've got enough footage to cut down. And so it's still, just coming at you hit after hit after hit. And then after that, you've got all this void. You're just looking at, oh shit, I have to fill in. Anytime I have to fill in more than 4 minutes of footage, I cry. It's a lot. Like, you have this one joke that you have in your head about how you're going to say Cassin's Riftwalk is absolute bullshit. And you've spent an hour working on 10 seconds of a video. And you don't realize how much time goes into it. Like, I've spent 12 hours on a video before, like for a 5-minute video, just to make sure it's the way that I actually want. But I've gotten it down to a science in which once I get the notes, I could probably do a video in maybe a day and a half if I really focus from recording to exporting. Some days are easier than others, and there are times where I'll actually skip a patch because there just isn't enough content to warrant making a video. I used to feel bad about it in the past, but it's not really a point. If there's no content, you can't make something out of nothing, so I don't bother to do it. So, yeah.
That's probably a deeper insight than most of us know.
Yeah, that's something that we always try to bring up to, that something, in your case, something that is a 5-minute YouTube video turns into a day and a half of work potentially.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't get how much actually goes into the work that content creators are putting out in the community.
Yeah, it's a lot. And so when people say that, when people are so quick to shit on it, saying it's just cheesy one-liners, it's like, if I made the video in 5 minutes and didn't try at all, you're free to shit on it, but most people have no idea what goes into it. It's a pretty arduous process. Like, I don't look forward to preseason at the end because I know it's like, all right, this is the end, but I want to kill myself. Like, it's just, there's just so much to do and there's so much to cover and I'm not prepared. So this past preseason was almost 40 pages of notes. Right. And I was just like, all right, well, I guess I don't need to do anything this weekend. I'm just going to sit here and write. And yeah, sometimes it's really easy, but a lot of times it sucks. But it's nice being able to export it and say, all right, this is damn good. People are going to like this. And you can tell by the reactions in the videos and the comments and likes and stuff. So yeah, it feels good. And I'm going to keep doing it until it doesn't make sense to do anymore.
Shit, I think we spent, a month on preseason
easy.
shit, like alone. We do 2
Easy.
podcasts a week. Like,
Yeah, we had 4
condensing
to
so much.
start. We had 4 in a row to start that
Yeah.
were like my first 4, and like I feel like we didn't even do that much work on it now, talking about 40, like all the notes and breaking that down.
Well, we
feel-
had to. I know.
was like,
I
we did
know.
so
We had
much.
to.
Never mind.
We ended up having to skip certain things, and then a week later, when they changed things up again, it's like, okay, remember all that stuff that we just talked about? This is why it doesn't matter anymore. So
that's why I can't
Yeah,
imagine being in your shoes and having to put this, a 5 or 6 minute video together with something that took us a month to cover, and we hardly touched it.
I mean, there's different mediums for everybody, and once you do it so many times and realize what works and what doesn't, I mean, every subsequent video, every subsequent podcast gets easier, more streamlined. So
more polished.
yeah. So it's a win. It's a win in the end.
I don't know about more polished for us. It's just how we argue better with each other.
There's an art in banter, and some people, I don't know, like there's something about how you can talk passionately about something and just go back and forth, and before you know it, you've been talking about it for like 3 hours and you got a lot done. So I think
That's what happened in preseason for us. That's it. It was, we would discuss like one marksman for about 45 minutes and didn't realize it. And we discussed pretty much every different possibility with them and told each other why we're each idiots.
And then we had
it's
7
incredible.
marksmen. We had 7 more marksmen to cover afterward.
So
Oh my God.
with your post production work, because that's something that I think we need to highlight more with the content creators is the post production work. We're talking a lot about pre and post production. Does your girlfriend help you out with any of the voice stuff and running gates and compressors and all that kind of stuff, or do you just let it fly the way it is?
It's really all me. I've gotten to the point where if I don't know how to do something and I want it done well, I have no problem commissioning people to do stuff. I'm not a master mixer. I do my own vocals, and I've gotten better at that as time goes on. There's no great way to teach people how to compress vocals or EQ them. You just mess around with them until it sounds okay enough. So when I do parodies, I don't mix my vocals. I just record raw vocals. I'll send them out to Tony from Instalock or Joseph from Falcon Shield, who's done my vocals on a number of songs. And I think a lot of important things that people fail to realize is that you need to realize where you fall short, because you're going to spend a lot of time trying to improve something marginally when you could just hand it off to somebody and then you can work on what you're good at and your final product will be a lot better. So if I ever get to a point where I can mix my own stuff, that's great, but I'm more of an idea executioner person. So take the latest music video I did, First Blood. I wrote the lyrics. I found the instrumental, but I had Dippin do the video. I could have done the video myself, but it just wouldn't have turned out as good. And I had Lunity sing, and I had Tony from Instalock master it. And then you've got these 4 people, and you've got this awesome product from these 4 people rather than me trying to do everything. Like I've seen my past work when I try and do things by myself. It's not as good as it could be. And I realize where my shortcomings are, and I hand that off. It's like it's like a Steve Jobs mentality, for lack of a better analogy. He's an idea man. He knows how it's going to be in the end. He just needs the right people to execute. And that's pretty much my mindset when it comes to collaborations. So yeah. But for TLDR patch notes and my other videos, I just edit myself, and with what little time I have from working,
Sure.
this time now, or just do what you can before you pass out and do it again tomorrow after work. That's all you can do.
Yeah. Shout out to Lancifer, who makes our voices sound amazing every week, because this podcast would not be moving forward without a producer. That's probably one of the biggest things we've learned is you need a producer for every single show that you put together, because like you said, it frees up a lot of time for you to move on to the next big idea. That hour or 2 hours you're spending compressing vocals could be 2 hours you're spending coming up with the next biggest idea.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
go ahead.
Oh, sorry, our like network has grown so much in like the last year?
Yeah.
Because I feel like it was like 10 people when I joined, and I don't
now
know
it's
how many it is
40
now.
something.
Yeah, it's ridiculous how many
45.
back end people we have.
Well, speaking of moving forward, you had just released a video, I think in the last 2 weeks, I want to say it was, about your climb out of silver. Speaking to you want to play a little more ranked, you want to try to get a little more into the game. Now, I watched the video, and I know I liked listening to your breakdown of your replays and how you have thought about going about it. Do you feel that is making you a better player? And also, why did you even decide to start doing these videos? Are you feeling community pressure?
So I got gold not this previous season, like at the end of season 4, and a lot of this year, I'm like, I look at my gameplay, and a lot of it's really careless. And me being for everyone, I'm almost 30, and my gaming skills aren't what they used to be. I'm not as reactive. I'm slower. And
You're not a spry gaming youth anymore.
Exactly. Like I see these people who are half my age who are in diamond and above, and it's like League as a game isn't mechanically super mechanically intensive, with the exception for a handful of champions. A lot of mistakes are minimized by just not being careless, warding, just the fundamentals, really. It's just like anything that you suck at, whether it's sports, it's just all about the fundamentals and people disregarding that and realizing it's a team game. So I was able to, play OP champions, ward a lot, make sure you're with your team, never be by yourself if you have to. If you're going to die, try and take somebody with you. And I just want people to see like the shenanigans that I have to deal with sometimes, not necessarily with people AFKing or being bad teammates, but hey, this is what it's like to be in silver. And all my viewers apparently are in diamond and challenger, and they really like telling me how to play, So I just wanted to show them what it's like. What was my mindset going through the enemy's red side jungle after we double killed bot lane? Like, what was my mindset trying to take dragon, or why did I die here? What could I have done differently? Like, I'm not trying to teach people how to play the game. Like, I'm not, like I said, I'm not a very high level player, but I just want people to share my experiences. It took a little bit of a hiatus on the series only because I got a little bit frustrated with ranked, and I was not able to get gold before the season ended, but I'm still climbing. I'm in silver 1. So that's still the best I've done this season, and I'm going to try and keep ranking up and release another episode. But, being a content creator, it's like you always want to try, and you don't want to rely on just one series to get you going. Like I don't want just TLDR patch notes to be the reason that people come to my channel. Like, I appreciate it that's bringing people in, but I need other content to bring them to stay and to stay subscribed to me. So, that was a video I did. It's like, hey, I could just do this. It's not really super time consuming. I love talking. People like hearing me, and I could just talk for 10 minutes explaining some big plays. And I want to get back into doing that. So it's been a while since I released my last video. It's just sometimes ranked it's just really terrible, for lack of a dirtier phrase. It just sucks. And I have days where I feel like playing, and I win like 5 in a row, and there are days where I just lose 10 in a row, and I'm just like, why am I even alive? Like, why do I play this game? Like, what am I trying to prove to anybody? But yeah, I have to be in the mood, and I just haven't been in the mood lately, but I need some content in between while I work on the next big thing, so I'm going to try and bring that back.
I think you've got a real gem there with that series, because there's something for a lot of our listeners are those gold and diamond, platinum, or whatever listeners that like to tell you how much better they can do than what you can do, and showing them our real life play. Hey, I fucked up here, man. I jumped in and I died, and this is why it happened, and this is what I was thinking. And you might be thinking the same way. I really think going down and breaking down your mentality, especially right after the game or a day after, where you can kind of dissect what you're playing, shows a lot of people how you're playing the game. Because we had talked a little while back about what is it? It's like to be a better player, you make unconscious decisions. I can't think of the name of it. Sean or Serial, do you guys know what I'm talking about exactly?
This was way back.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but there's different levels of play in the game where you make conscious decisions and unconscious decisions, and there's like Aframu, for example, where he can just shoot a perfect skill shot and hit somebody with it because he's just playing and he knows that that's the way he has to play. Then he goes and tilts so hard that he can't hit a fucking skill shot. And showing people that you play in these certain ways helps them become better players. And I just wanted to commend you for even putting yourself out there and showing people that, yeah, I might be bad. I'm using air quotes right now, but I realize
I am bad. I'm bad. I'm horrible at the game.
I mean, I'm not trying to put you down by saying that because I'm fucking terrible at this game too. But I'm using air quotes by saying, yeah, I'm bad, but I'm going to show you how I'm going to get better. And that's by analyzing my own gameplay.
We're platinum, and we tell people we're terrible at this game.
Yeah,
all the time.
Well, the fact that some people can listen to content creators that are popular and hopefully get the mentality of, I can improve if I actually look at it objectively, which is what you're doing when you review those, or anyone when they review their own play, like shows a much better side of the improvement of League of Legends, or somebody trying to get better, as opposed to, I mean, I don't deserve to be in bronze. I'm at least triple diamond challenger level. And most people just blame it on everyone else. But if you can, I really appreciate when people will say, okay, that was my fault. I understand what I did, and I will improve that.
Yeah, and that's all I'm trying to go for. I'm not trying to make, if you learn anything or the videos make you feel better, like I try purposely to tell people. I try purposely to not try and direct people because I'm not in that position. I'm not challenger or anything. Like, hey, this is why you're so horrible at the game. I'm trying to show people this is why I'm horrible, and this is what I was thinking. And I in this game I reached silver way faster than I did last season, and a lot of it is the amount of time that you have to play games. Like if you have 20 chances to rank up rather than 10 chances, and you win those 20 chances, you will rank up faster. And me with my limited time, it's like I don't always have time to dedicate to playing. I feel like I said in a video that I feel like I could get at least plat 5 if I was just a bit more consistent. But in these short little chances that I have, like 5 games, I could win 5 and get a few LP. I could lose 5 and go down 3/4 of a ranking. It's just the more games you have to play, at my skill level at least, the better you have a chance to rank up. I'm not like Gosu or I'm a Cutie Pie or any other pro player where they can go 0-10 or 10-0 and start super high. They just are super good at the game. But for everybody else below them, it's just the more games you have a chance to play at and win, the better potential you have to rank up. And so I'm kind of in the middle of that.
One of the best ways to look at it, and one of the ways that grounded myself is, I work a full-time job too. I work a full-time job. I do this podcast as much, I'm doing the run of the business, everything. And that's, I don't have time when I come home to play, and I have to pick what I want to do. I come home.
Yeah.
I take care of the girlfriend, I take care of the kids, and I sit down, I can play for a couple hours. Now, I could play for a couple hours and try to rank up, or I could play for a couple hours and try to get better, and try to learn about what changes we talked about earlier, so that I can give you the information. And so it's great to hear that there's other people out there, other content producers that are doing the same thing. So I'm gonna, I don't know, there's a word for it here, some idiom that I'm looking for, but we're just gonna because I can't think.
Is the idiom like full-time job people don't have a lot of time on their hands?
Yeah, that's probably.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a real idiom. I just
no, there was an idiom that I wanted to use to like move the conversation forward, but it like skipped my brain.
I mean, I know exactly what you mean. You have to. Time is so limited, and so there was a time where I was like neglecting my girlfriend so I could make videos, or there's a time where I'm hanging out with her more, and I'm like, all this time I'm using to hang out with you, I could be using to better myself, and it sounds selfish,
Oh yes, I know that feeling very well. I'm sitting there with the kid. I got a 6-year-old daughter, and she's learning to read, and I'm teaching her to read. I'm like, as she's learning, how to say win. I'm like, well, I could be downstairs playing League of Legends right now.
Yeah, right.
It's a selfish way. It's a selfish way to think, but you just don't say it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, okay. Let's move this into like some of the last questions I have, and that's just with a community. You have a community of people, whether you think you do or not. You've got a community of people that follow you. You have your own you are a star. BlackAndola, you are a star out there.
Thank
People
you.
know who you are. So what do you enjoy the most about the community that you've cultivated through your YouTube channel?
I just like that they are in sync with what I care about. League of Legends, Smash Brothers, sometimes casual racism, going out to events, and
He's a man at my own heart.
That's what we're missing. We don't have that.
yeah. Sometimes you need the edgy minority to shake things up, because nobody likes talking about race. I'm not trying to make it about race, but it's like that's why I think that's why Sky Williams was such a breath of fresh air. It's because most content creators are white, Asian. That's how it is in gaming. There's nothing wrong with that. And so
We're afraid to rub people the wrong way, and he clearly isn't.
Yeah, exactly. He just says what's on his mind, and it works out for him. And it's like, oh wow, black comedy doesn't really work out for everybody. It works out for some people. Doesn't work out for a general audience, but it's something that was widely accepted as a breath of fresh air. And I try and offer the same thing. I try not to make my videos completely about race. If something happens, it pops in. Oh well, that's life. Like, race is everywhere. I'm not going to try to skirt the topic if it's not. If it's
Pretend it doesn't exist.
Dude, a long time ago, I made a joke about Lucian. And I'm not going to repeat the joke, but I made a joke about Lucian and running fast and stuff. And we got emails and everything about how insensitive we were. And I'm like, slow down. I'm not trying to hurt anyone's feelings.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a joke.
Yeah, it's a joke. People are sensitive, and that might be for another conversation.
A whole episode
I like that.
on its
Yeah,
own.
that's a good episode.
But yeah, when I see them at events and they're like, "Oh my god, I love your videos," or we should play Smash sometime, or we should play a fan game. It's like people want to do things with me. Like, you have to understand that wasn't a thing before I started doing YouTube. I didn't really think very highly of myself, and I know a lot of people, but I can count my friends on my two hands. Mm-hmm. So to have these random people who watch me from their cell phones, their tablets, their computers, whatever, and just be really into what I do, that's just I still can't wrap my head around it. Like, I watch my own videos and I'm like, man, I'm so fucking stupid. Like, why would anybody watch this shit? But 2-3 years later, I keep growing and people keep coming back, and so I'm just gonna keep rolling with it. And one day I'll make sense of it. But like I said, it's really goes back to the fans. Ever since my very first subscriber, it's just, I don't know. It's just really surreal. I don't really know how to put it into words and something that's absorbable, that's tangible.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's the fans. They're the only reason they keep doing this stuff, and all the nice tweets, nice emails and stuff. People doing things for me, fan art. I'm just like, what is going on? Like, somebody took time out of their day to do something for me, and I didn't ask them to do it.
Right.
It's just surreal.
That's one of the best things. And to put this into perspective for you is that I'll let Sean talk about it. The giving and giving and giving. You can put it much better words than I can.
What?
No, to give and give and give and get back.
Yeah,
we've talked about that before.
This is something like I had. There's so many people who look at the whole kind of community situation as a giant competition, in that, hey, if I'm making something and somebody else looks at my content, but somebody else is looking at somebody else's content,
mm-hmm.
I need to steal them and have them only look at mine because I'm the only person that matters. And realistically, it's like, if everybody just works together, there's plenty of people to view everything. And
yeah, for sure.
When people collaborate, like even talking about stuff tonight, it's great to just have somebody you can talk to that will make you want to make better stuff in the future. Don't look at things necessarily as a way to be like, man, don't be jealous of somebody else's success or something like that. Use that as motivation to be like, wow, how can I do something like similar? How can I like make the stuff that I'm creating way better to cater more towards, my fans, or to reach fans that I clearly am not reaching at right now.
You're absolutely right.
Basically, like putting good energy out there pays back in spades.
Yeah. No, I used to think that it was a competition. Like, how come this person has more subscribers than me?
He's speaking my language right now.
Why do I suck and this person is good? And as humans, we're always trying to be better than we were yesterday, and that no matter what pinnacle we reach, it's never going to be enough. Like 2 years ago, I get 1,000 views on a video, and I'm like, this is really cool. Like, I never thought this would happen. If that happened today, I would literally jump off a bridge. There's the hunger for more is so natural,
right?
So it's just we shouldn't be fighting for views. I mean, yeah, it's a competition, I guess, in the most basic forms, but we're not out to kill each other. Like if I make a podcast, it's not to
there's it's trying to create to kill, I guess, is the way to
we're not I learned luckily that we're not here to murder anybody, and surrounding myself with people who want to do better brings out the best in me, and that's why I'm able to make the videos that I make. It's never by myself. Someone is always the reason this video came out, like the reason the First Blood came out, is because I wanted the best people on it, and the result is the ends to that mean. And the stuff I'm working on for next year, it's so out of the box for me and out of my comfort zone, but it's the only way I'm going to improve. And it's not a competition. I wish people would work together more. There's not a lot that I could offer people much than my voice. Like I can't draw, I can't edit very well, but if something works out when we put our powers together, then I'm all for it. Doesn't matter what it is. I'm open to anything.
I love it. I love that my sense of community has turned around within the last year.
I had to beat this into you so fucking hard.
He had to, dude. Remember when you just said 2 minutes ago that it was a competition and that you were, you're dying. Why do I don't have as many views as Billy Pichu? Dude, I did that with like every podcast that was out there. Well, and eventually it made sense. It clicked and went, why am I not just bringing all the other creators on here, no matter how small or how big they are? And why aren't we just doing a bunch of collaborative shit and like feeding off of each other's fame and just becoming this huge bodily mass of creators?
Well, and it's again going with success. My dad put it great growing up, and that like no matter like how much money you make or no matter where your success is or something like that, your life will always adapt to kind of like the level that you're at. So it's not that things necessarily get that much easier, because you'll just get a taste for something else to continue to make it difficult. So I mean, again, looking at the, hey, if I had this few views now, I'd feel terrible. Like to somebody who has never made a video before, that's one of the coolest things that they would ever do, just to get 100 views. Yeah. And there are people that get hundreds of thousands of views, and that isn't enough for them. It's just, it depends on your perspective and where you're sitting when the video gets launched.
Yeah. And that's like, for a lot of YouTubers my size, it's like the only way to get bigger is to collaborate and expose yourself to audiences and cross promote. And that's why I'm going to try and have a more open mind and do that. I'm just so apprehensive about it because I wonder if I'm ever good enough for somebody else. But the truth is that you are, and everyone starts from somewhere. I had started with 0, and it took 3 years, but I'm at, like 200 and some thousand. I lost count. But you just got to put out videos and content that are representative of you, that make you happy. Like, are you proud of this coming out? Like, and take people's feedback, constructive feedback to improve yourself, and it's a process. It's iterative. It's going to take a bit, but if you're willing to put in the work, you can get there. Anybody can make content, and we're so lucky that there's so much content. There's some overlap, but there's personality-wise, everyone is so different. Like everyone can find something for them, and you can make content for somebody or some group of people.
Yeah, it's not like somebody's going to watch a video on YouTube or on like RLOL and watch the one and say, well, I'm entertained for now. They'll keep going down. They'll see everything that gets up there. It's like, that's all my entertainment for the day, I guess. I'm sated.
He watches the one patched out video and then closes the tab. Well, that's all I wanted to see.
I never need to learn anything about patches again.
I think my favorite, just speaking of patches, because I don't think I've ever mentioned this before, is that like Kennen got his range nerfed in season 4? Yeah. Early season 4 or something like that. I was playing in early season 5, and some dude was like, why can't I hit him from this range? When did Kennen get a nerf? And I'm like, How have you gone an entire season without ever knowing this?
Yeah, like, do you read anything? Like, come on.
There's so many people, though. I mean,
especially if you're trying to play a game competitively, like if you want to continue progressing, you kind of have to keep up to date on that stuff, or else you just fall way behind.
Yep.
It'd be incredible if like Kennen, this would be an extreme example, if Kennen just suddenly became melee and he goes in the game not knowing that, and it's just really confused when he gets to lane.
he tries to
They just
throw
nerfed his. They nerfed his range by 5 every patch.
Just to 1 now.
Well, Blakinola, I appreciate you coming on the podcast tonight. Thank you so much for giving us so much information. I'm going to leave the end of the podcast floor open for you before I close it out. If there's anything you'd like to plug, anything you'd like to say, I mean, the floor is open. Please go for it.
Oh, okay. So all of you watching, shout out to Trinity Force Podcast for having me on. Those guys are awesome. Make sure you're following them on Twitter at T-Force Network. You can visit them at trinityforcenetwork.com, and they have an in-game chat room, T-Force, so you can join in on the fun. They're here constantly. They've been in the scene for a long time, so please support them. If you want to follow me, all my social media, Vine, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, it's all BlackAndola. You can go to my website, BlackAndola.com. I got some voice samples on there. Anybody that needs a voice for anything, you can hit me up. And hopefully we can do this again one day. I had a really good time, and it's just always nice to talk to people who are in the league community and gaming and just shoot the shit. That's all I care about. I just want to surround myself with good people so that I can continue to be a good person. So thank you guys. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming on. Blakinola, we will bring you on, I would assume, probably about February-ish. We'll talk.
For sure.
DMs or emails, whatever it is. Because I'd like for you to come on for a patch note episode at least at one time, so we could talk about the patch notes and the changes and how they affect people.
Do some in-depth discussion. It'll be great.
Yeah, I'm into it.
Yeah, so and then it's a nice plug. I'll make them play your patch note at the TLDR patch note at the very end of the episode. I'll tell Lance where he has to put the audio in there.
With that. Like, why did I watch this big ass podcast? So I could just watch TLDR patch notes.
Exactly. Like, why are you listening to us? All right, guys. One last thing I want to shout out before we close out this podcast is don't forget to go to teespring.com/KingDC. Our buddy DeClaude has MS, his hands, and his hands hardly function anymore. He's not allowed to play League of Legends. He can't play League of Legends.
Not allowed. His body does not allow him to play
his body
League of
doesn't
Legends.
allow him to play video games anymore.
It's really depressing.
MS has crippled him. He's walking around with a cane, thankfully, so he's out of the wheelchair and not, he's able to walk unassisted. But we are 100% of the funds for the King DeClaude t-shirt are going to the National MS Society. So teespring.com/KingDC. Please go out there and support him. There's only like 7 days left.
It's a beautiful purple shirt.
I love how you almost called him King DeClaude. Like our friend King DeClaude.
He is our friend King DeClaude, though. Like he got that shirt because they were making fun of him on. They weren't making fun of him. They were making fun of a certain song on Twitter, and then Area Defect made a song called King DeClaude, and that's where we got the thing. And it says King DeClaude with a little crown on the K. So it's really cool. Go out there, just buy it because 100% of the funds are going. They're not even going to us. They're going to the National MS
Get a
Society.
sweet shirt out of it, so everybody wins.
So guys, thank you so much. Blakinola, again, thank you so much for coming on tonight. That was episode 319 of Trinity Force Podcast. Guys, we will see you all on Monday with Chris Alphanar. Peace.
Peace.
Yep.